We back, y'all. I'm Jaden, aka Mr. Talk Spicy, and I got my bro with me, ChaChing. And you know that's the Dossier Splash Bros. We live here on Fort House of Hoops podcast, built by the game, New York versus New York edition. Gersh Park,
built by the game. Gersh Park, two-time champ, undefeated for 2 years and a half. That's what Gersh Park is built by. The New York versus New York vibe, and that's what they built by. And we here for the whole vibe. Oh, it feel good to be back. Spicy, what's up, man? How the week was, man? How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I feel like we got New York versus New York back.
That's big, though. But, like, today is big because, like, it's not that many champions in New York versus New York. I'm going to be honest with you. There's only 2 champions, and one of them got 2 of them. So how you feeling? What's some of your experiences you had just in Brooklyn at Gersh Park itself, man?
Which one you want to talk about? You want to talk about the famous line you made up? Or you want to talk about them being the 2-time champs and not making sure that nobody get a championship? I don't know. We can talk about a lot. Or we can talk about how you win a championship with coaches and then you still get a whole new coaching staff and win another champion. I don't know. We can talk about a lot with Gersh. They got it.
They definitely do, man. And what makes it so unique, though, they put everything together piece by piece. They're not messing up the frame with it. They just doing piece by piece, building it one play at a time, and they just keeping it. They really keeping it on Brooklyn. I really don't see nobody else really what they roster during the whole New York versus New York. If I'm correct, I might have to go tap into my files tonight and figure it out. But I don't see nobody. They keep it on Brooklyn, from the coaches down to the players. They keep it on Brooklyn.
And what the song say? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? And they make sure every time they pop out, they come deep. You know Gersh Park in the building. DP in the gang, bring everybody fly tie. And you know this episode gonna get real tricky. Like my first year in New York versus New York, I got to coach out there. So the experience was OD fun. Like being a coach on the sideline. And then everybody's a vibe. So it's like, that park is big, bro. And they got their own food section. So you know you go out there, you eating good. You gonna watch a good game. You gonna be great. And then the announcing part, what we did to that park, bro, I think that's the most memorable moment ever in that park. I ain't gonna lie. If anybody say they had a better moment than that, what we did last year, RP Pop Smoke. But what we did last year was a party for real. Like, we made everybody know New York versus New York was a party.
What made it all fun for me, just the way Gersh, the whole staff, they treated us as we walked in, man. They didn't treat us foul, they treat us proper. The whole staff, man. So, we definitely got to shout out the whole staff, man, down in security guards, the concession stand. So we definitely got to shout all them out before we really get into it. But that Pop Smoke, RP, man, that was it. that set the tone for the whole summer. That really set the tone for the whole summer because, like, the game was going back and forth. And that last minute, because remember they had to come back too. The last minute just set the whole, like, we could look at that video right now and it's still trending on all the social sites, man. So how you feel about that moment? And give me like some of your other good moments. 'Cause I know that one for me and you, like, it really pushed the Dossier and Splash Bros to like a whole new level, man. I think with that helped real big.
Yeah, that moment right there it's just like it's just me, you, and then we got authorized. We tell them get the track looped up. See, when everybody on the same page, it just flowed out. So it looked like it was scripted. Like it looked like we made a movie. Like it was really like people might have think we made it and it was fake. That's how perfect it was. Like that was like a perfect ending at their park. They got both their banners. Cause remember, every year it rains. And for some reason that day, it drizzled, but it didn't stop the party. So like that was like a perfect 2-time champ party. Put the banners down. We brought the players out, brought the coaches out. But like Gersh is another park where they got Unlimited in high school. So Unlimited, they bring out stars too. Lance comes back every year to show love. Yada Gaines comes back. So it's like, that park is very memorable. East New York is fun. Like Fly Tie got that park rocket every night. This year they had Casanova had a team fancy 2-time. So it's like, they just run Brooklyn. Like, just like how Lincoln Park had Queens, they just got Brooklyn on lock.
And sometimes people think we all competitors, man, but we definitely gotta shout out Fly Tie, man. He big Brooklyn for this, man. He know what I mean? Just to hear how he started is big. Like, know what I mean? Just kicking it on the side and just wind up like he really got Brooklyn himself. Like, he could really say, like, I run Brooklyn. And you know they got a lot of people that run Brooklyn, man. You got Jay-Z, rest in peace, Biggie. Now, I mean, the list go on and on from the ball players, Lance, Sebastian, all of them, man. They just loaded, man. And for me, I just enjoy just pulling up, man. I enjoy every part of New York versus New York, just seeing them win their championships, man. The way they celebrated, they didn't do it in a crazy manner. They kept it basketball, they kept it fun. But what we brought to Brooklyn, I don't think Brooklyn will probably have the next 20 years. Like, that's a legendary moment. Like, we can't write that moment again. That moment can't happen if they laid it out for us to happen again. Know what I mean? And that moment for us and the New York versus New York family and the House of Hoops family, that thing was like crazy. Like, I'm still be on my phone like, yo, nah, we really did that. And I already know what I guess today, because we going to have them in that little Birkin bag today.
Yeah, I respect Gersh a lot. Like, the way they conduct themselves, the way they travel as a family, like, nobody get left behind. There's always an understanding, like DP, Fly Tie, the whole staff at Gersh. New York versus New York, you could tell it means a lot to them. Because when they lose, it was personal. Like, they had a win streak for so long where it was like, yo, who's going to beat Gersh? Who's going to beat Gersh? And it's like, but every game they brung it. Like, they brung the best out of all their players every game. It don't matter what coaching staff you want to say they had. They brung it. And for 2 years, they ran New York versus New York. And they showed what it took to be a champ. And I think a lot of teams this year that passed modeled their team after them. Like, they was the example of how to be champions. So I give Gersh that because they showed, like, this is the commitment you need to have. And I think teams went and got family. If you notice, this year was a lot of family teams. And that's what Gersh do. They bring like 2 or 3 players from each school that represented Brooklyn. So it's like the chemistry is already there. So it's like, we don't got to really coach y'all. You already know how to play with each other. And I think that's why a lot of teams this year looked a lot like the coaching staff they went out and got was, yo, bring your players that know each other from the winter for we can have a good summer. And that's what Gersh, they set the tone. And then you had to model yourself after them. A lot of teams was going out to get the studs. They went out and got the players they knew was going to play hard and bring it every game. And every summer they had a player that broke out. JC, his freshman year, you saw he went against Cole. He broke out. Kadari Richmond came in last year unranked. They say summer basketball mean nothing. I guess they ain't see the Splash Bros on the court. Because after that shot, ESPN said, yo, top 100 kid in the country, Brewster Cap. So it's like, it's just you don't know who gonna break out for Gersh, and that's what they do for you.
Like, working with you, like, people don't know, like, we don't really call each other, we don't rehearse nothing. That joint is all a natural feel. And that's Brooklyn, a natural feel. Like, just to add those coaches, those are some gritty coaches they had. Those coaches they had was no slouch. They really hoopers. G. Irvin. I mean, McDonald's All-American. I mean, they really hoopers over there. You know what I mean? And just to get that energy from those coaches, just to see them fired up on the sideline. Like me and G. Irv kick it all the time. We crack jokes. G. Irv always took yo. You don't take I see you not take Gersh game serious. And every time we getting all these lights and all this love, I'm like, look, G. Irv, you see what I'm talking about? But it's just always friendly competition with me and G. Irv. But that whole staff, man, the coaches down to the players, man. I mean, I really don't have too much to say negative about them, but I know for sure, and one thing is a fact, this guest, he might be a little humble. He might do the behind the scenes things today, but today, what the Splash Bros going to do for him. We're going to give him his flowers, and we're going to get him in his Birkin bag today. We got to. It's only right there, the two-time champ. They did everything for New York City basketball in the right way. I mean, like, it's hard to win 2 championships alone anywhere. To win 2 out of 3 in New York versus New York, one of the hardest tournaments in the country. We're not talking about the city, in the country. It's tough.
He might not like a lot of attention, but today he gonna get that attention. I ain't gonna lie, I can't. They want to see like what it's about, like why is Gersh, and like what does NY versus NY mean to Gersh. So it's like we gotta bring that fire out of him today and show everybody a different side of him. That's it.
He need that spotlight. He need the whole city, the whole country, whoever's all the viewers tuning in, they kids that's tuning in. They need to know that this man done so much for just Brooklyn itself. And now with the New York versus New York platform, man, and he's still going and going. We got Damian Pitts in the building today. I told you we had guests, and we like to deal with championships on our guests. Damian Pitts, what's going on, baby?
What's up, ChaChing? What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. What's up, Jay?
DP, what
What's
up?
up? I got the dog skin Splash Brothers. Good.
How you feel about the New York versus New York whole platform itself? I know we only in our 3rd year. This would have been our 4th due to circumstances. We couldn't go. So, we still in our 3rd year. We consider this still 3rd year. We get the player option. Next year be the 4th. How you feel about just the whole New York versus New York setting?
I think the New York versus New York has done so much just for New York City basketball, for the high school kids, for the middle school kids. It just gives them something to look forward to. And what it's done for the high school kids across the boroughs is just amazing. Give those kids a chance and kids a chance to showcase what they have. And we get to show how powerful New York City basketball is. So I think it did a great job. It's unfortunate with COVID. This year would have been extra special. A lot of people had stuff brewing after year 1, year 2, year 3. You get a chance to figure it out. Because usually when you start something, you get the kinks out. So this year would have been a year getting the kinks out. People would have got a chance to make their mark a little deeper. Now this kind of set us back with the COVID, but we get time to plan. So I think, it's going to be a bigger impact next year.
You being the commissioner of Gersh Park, like what made you feel like that environment was the perfect place to start your tournament? And what made you take over like the whole Brooklyn at that point, basically?
Brooklyn alone has a lot to give, and there's so many pockets in Brooklyn that have special pieces. And Gersh always had special pieces way before the tournament. And now we get a chance to showcase it. So, as far as Brooklyn, I get a chance to look at the ones before me. So like the Ricky Rivers, those people that had Kingston Park, Sky High, so those tournaments that been around way before me when I was playing basketball. So it's just, just trying to propel what we're doing in Brooklyn.
How do you feel about PNW Sports Inc., man? How you feel about that brand?
That's everything. That's way deeper than just Gersh, because we inherited that from just the older guys that had a record label in our community. So PNW means so much to us just in our neighborhood. So PNW Sports is everything. That's just a piece of a bigger picture. That's way before me, way before anybody from Gersh.
When people talk about Gersh, they talk about Fly Tie, they talk about DP. Like, what do y'all do so different from other tournaments? Because this segment is called Built by Something. So what made y'all feel like y'all was built for this street ball like legacy that y'all have made for Gersh and the takeover that y'all have put together? It's just like, it's y'all two, and we know y'all got people behind, but the face, to be the face of something so big and so special, like.
I agree with you totally. I think the face matters so much. It was what you give out, what you present. And, one key I think that makes us work is the fact of we always talk, we always deliberate before something is done. So if it's something on the internet, if it's planning, if it's preparing for something, we always deliberate together. We deliberate if it's chat, if it's, on the phones or face to face, but we always try to deliberate before we do anything. So I think that's what makes it special. There's never no, okay, we're going to do this. Somebody may be objective to something, but we do what makes sense. So that's the biggest piece.
Selecting your coaches for New York versus New York, how did that come about? Because you had some gritty coaches. How did that come about? Because I know you sit back, you do more of the GM role. You don't really, you let the coaches coach. So how did it come into putting your coaches in place from, you had to go head coach, assistant coach, and then one coach under him? How was the process of putting those coaches together? I mean, and if you want to elaborate on over the 3 years, the few coaches you had.
Always a tough thing, because when I was thinking about the coaches from the first meeting, it's about giving them a platform. These coaches are great coaches. So my first 2 coaches was Ronnie Francis, Ron, and Fridge Holman. So giving them 2, they had a pulse on the high school. Ronnie Francis, BK Stompers had a pulse on it, across the boroughs. Their Fridge already being a high school coach, it only made sense. And they were Brooklyn natives. So that year 1, they had a pulse on those players. They had access to those players, so that's what made it great. And then with year 2 and year 3, it was even better because we had more homegrown people with Charles Jones and Gary Irvin, who definitely have a pulse on the New York City basketball. They're in there, Charles Jones, OSL, G. Irv, he was already in the whole world, and he's at Nazareth. So we just try to keep it that way. So for me, it's like when after year 1, so many coaches reached out. Yo, what's up? I think I get a shot. You sit down and just give people who deserves that platform. If I could pick 15 coaches, it would have been 15 coaches. But at that time, Ronnie and Fred set the tone for Brooklyn because we got to chip that first. And then Gary and Charles just kept it moving, and it's a great thing. So I just think just giving a chance to give people the opportunity to build.
You see, you came into New York versus New York, focused, locked in. I don't know if your first goal, I don't even want to say that. That wouldn't make no sense because everybody's first goal was to win it. But you were so locked in. What made you feel like New York versus New York was this platform, like you keep saying, is a platform? So what did you know, we're going to win it this year, we're going to set the tone? Because I think year 3, people, you see what you mentioned, the high school coaches. I think a lot of teams realize that's the trick. We got to go get the coaches that have that connection with the players, and the players have a connection with each other. So what made you set that tone, and what did New York versus New York mean to you when it first happened?
You know what it was? You never know how big something is until it happens. You can have a vision. We go all sit and look at a vision of something like, wow, this is going to be big. But I never thought it would be magnified this much. So when I was looking at the team, I left it to Fridge and Ronnie. We had a chat together. They told me some players they were getting. They were talking about players. I'm like, some I didn't know, some I did know. And I was like, okay, this could be good. But as I saw the games were going, how they magnified the park, how they made the park look so glorified. And the kids, they rose to the occasion. The coaches rose to the occasion. So for me looking from the outside in, I'm keeping more so of a hands off. Like Dave said, I'm just keeping just doing the GM role. I want them to be able to flourish and do what they're supposed to do. So I think the kids saw it and saw how intense it was. They saw that big stage they were on, and they performed. They saw how big the stage was. The coaches reiterated it to them, and they just got a chance to take it to the top.
I know you had some crazy moments in Gersh Park. You had one crazy moment last year in New York versus New York. Just give me one moment from Gersh Park standpoint first, and just give me a little bit of experience about the last year New York versus New York.
There's so many different moments that meant so much that could just meant one just for the community wise. It could be like a hometown rival. You know how if we're looking at neighborhoods, it could be this building versus that building or that project versus that project. Those rivalries matter. So for us on our level, somebody from the outside looking in, they're like, this is a game that doesn't mean anything. But for the community, it means so much because it trickles down to the kids from that neighborhood. Like, oh yeah, we won. We could talk a little smack. But on a bigger scale, somebody that's coming in with a basketball, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But, so it's so many of them. I got to say AOF, P&W. The AOF was from Brookline houses, and then P&W is from Linden houses. So that game happened, and it was one of the biggest games ever in Gersh. I'm talking about people had banners, they had mascots, they were running. It felt like a college atmosphere. But that's something people never seen. If you weren't there, you wouldn't understand. Was there big name players? Older guys, yeah, big name players, but not the household names we know now. So, for us, the community-wise, it meant so much. It meant so much for Gersh because that was talked about all through the winter, and that propelled us to another year. And this was before the Nike, before all the platforms we built. So that's a major key for us. And as far as New York versus New York, I got to go with that shot by, it's two plays. The shot by Kadari last year was just, it speaks for itself. Y'all two are there to just, be a part of that history. So we could get old and gray. And we'll be able to know that y'all made that call. It happened at the park. And it was like, whatever people say, that's just a big moment in New York City basketball history. That's not going to go down like just Gersh, New York versus New York. You're talking about history that video could play and people go, wow, I was there or I called it. So those things matter for me. And then I'll say another play was, if you remember, inside Riverbank, Iquan gets the steal, push it, gaps the ball, kicks it to JC, knocks down the three. That was such a big play too. So, that was a momentum swinger after a block by one of the big boys. He knocks that three down. That sucks the life out the gym. So plays like that mean so much.
And that's like you saying, like the neighborhoods, rivalries. When people hear Gersh Park, what do they have to know Gersh Park is built by? Like, what would you say defines Gersh Park?
I say the knowledge. Players, like for instance, y'all job as commentators, y'all know the players. Y'all know the history. Some of these people that's not commentators just know the history. They'll see a player come in, they'll know about what the player did in another tournament. They'll know what the player did in school. They already have insight on that player. So I think that means so much because you got players that are coming and the crowd already know them. The crowd is already speaking about the player, what they did in the tournament before. One game I remember somebody must have had 50 or something in West 4th. And then they came to Gersh and the kid couldn't get a basket. And they were saying, you just have 50, West 4th, this is not West 4th. They would remind you that you have to perform every night. You have to perform every night. It doesn't matter what you do anywhere else. They're going to be on you. Got to perform. You got to show up. And that's a big thing, I think, just for Gersh J. That's a major piece. You got to show up. There's no, I'm coming here to be cool. I'm going to throw a couple assists. They want to see you do something.
The amount of college players y'all had come through there, high school players, just on the New York versus New York roster over the 3 years, you probably had over 20 Division I kids. How does that feel? Like, when it's all said and done, how does that moment feel looking back that all the college athletes that you had on your roster and building that New York versus New York platform in the Gersh manner?
The crazy thing is sometimes you get a name in a text, you may not know who that player is. You may have some people may have a stronger pulse of those high school players. But when you hear the roster and you get a chance to see the kids, you're like, wow, these kids represented what was built. So it makes it feel good. And I tell them that family bond is always there. Because even like a kid like Iquan who played that 1 year and went to college, he come to Gersh, he's always going to have that open door policy where he's always taking care of. He always text me or call because like you take time to be a part of it. It's not where you may play and you'll never be spoken to again. You're still going to get that love regardless because you got a chance to go through the war with the park, with us. So, having those players, we try to keep the doors open. Every player you won't speak to, but any player that comes to the park that put on that New York versus New York jersey, they always get that, anything I can do to help them, I'm going to help them. Just because, you represent it. Because, again, every time you have it in other leagues, you got coaches want to speak to every player. So they probably talk to a JC, a Kareem Welsh, a Kadari, a Femi. They'll talk to those players, but they chose to they kept it Brooklyn. So, those times you always want to make sure you stay pure with them, stay honest with them. So, to answer your question, it's a blessing. It's a blessing because they can play anywhere. But they chose to play with Gersh. They chose to represent Gersh. They chose to play for those coaches. So it means a lot.
And that's one thing you could say about Gersh is a family-oriented. Everything is a bond. And y'all make sure y'all don't go out of that borough. Like, it's just straight Brooklyn. And y'all coming with 12 Brooklyn players, 8 Brooklyn players. And y'all know you're going to be gritty and they're going to play hard. And that's one thing, they play hard for y'all, and y'all always represent, and that's why y'all 2-time champs, and that's why you the commissioner. Now you look like the mastermind in New York versus New York. You found out the little glitch that everybody had to find out the right way to do it. And I say you laid the platform out. You call it a platform, but it was like your platform because you ran from the start with it. And you just, like you said, it's the knowledge. You knew it, you did it the right way. You didn't go out and go get everybody's favorite player. You went with your coaching staff and you allowed your coaching staff to coach. And I think that's what a lot of people learned from you? Because there had to be a lot of phone calls like, yo, what's the trick? Because I seen a lot of teams, new coaches year 3. It was a whole new coaching staff for a lot of programs. And you notice the coaches was high school coaches. So,
that happens. Sometimes, people they go with the big names. Some commissioners may get too involved, want to be on the bench or sitting. If anybody could look at any video, I'm at the end of the bench. Just a ball boy, just a water boy. Yo, you need water? Just letting the kids know I'm just here. Y'all do y'all thing. Ownership means a lot. So sometimes when people get ownership, they get to flourish with it. Sometimes when people are micromanaged, it makes it tough. You got a lot of people to spread their wings. So, if I'm going, I'm just going as a fan. We're going as fans just to watch it. I trust the coaches do the right thing and the kids just see it. And, I'm at, what was that, Gaucho's gym. I'm at the end of the bench just giving water with no problem. Just happy to be there. Just waiting for a big 3 or a big dunk or a big steal or a big block or somebody to take a charge. So, that's a major piece to it. Let coaches do what they do. But I did see year 3. A lot of people contracts was waived. They was in the crowd. They was in the crowd after that. They not on the bench no more. So, it happens. It happens.
That's so funny because I was about to just ask you right now, was Fridge and them waived or they only had a 1-year contract? Because after the 1 year deal, we just using it as the basketball term, So when people see the podcast, it's gonna laugh and crack jokes. But just letting them go or letting them step down or letting them branch off into their next journey. How does it feel to now you have to research for the G. Irvin and Charles Jones?
You know what it was? My initial plan was I'm giving 2 coaches a platform every year. So in my mind, it was going to be Fridge and Ronnie. And then after year 1, I was like, let me get 2 new coaches. And the reason they got extended to year 3, they did such an amazing job. Not saying Fridge and Ronnie didn't. My plan was to give Brooklyn coaches 2 years every time to give everybody that stage. It could have been year 5, year 6. It could have been 2 other coaches as diamonds in the rough that could probably mesh together. So they never got waived because they're always a part of the family. Fridge keeps a team in the tournament. Ronnie keeps a team in the tournament. So even though they're not on that New York versus New York, they still got a pulse on it just because some of those kids they've worked with. So regardless, I'm still going to call them for insight. If it's a kid they may have. Or they may call me like, listen, I got a stellar kid for you. ABC. So it's definitely not like all right, y'all got waived and move on. But, that was the plan. 1 year, then another year to try to give coaches. So by year 5, you got 10 coaches that got a chance to be on the biggest stage probably ever for them. They probably coach all that talent. So that was the plan. It just happened that Gary and Charles got that other year after winning to try to see if they could do it twice. But it's all love with, it's all family orientated with Fridge and Ronnie. Have them on speed dial if I need them.
And one thing about Gersh, you could say y'all built by memories because y'all going to go down in history in New York versus New York as the first ever champs. Probably the only tournament that's going to win 2 times back-to-back years. We got to see what happened. COVID saved this year, but we're going to see what happened next year. But it won't count as a back-to-back because we had a year off. So you got to see who do it. And y'all just got memorable buzzer beaters. And ChaChing famous line is just Gersh Park is like memories. That's what you get out of it. When you think New York versus New York, you're just going to think about Gersh and all the memories y'all left on us. And you just being the commissioner. And like I said, it's always 2 duos in Brooklyn. It's going to be Katie and Kyrie right now, Rowdy and Bobby. And for the streetball basketball world, DP and Fly Ty. And they just going to have to deal with it. And I love what y'all do at Gersh. And we love y'all family. And we love what y'all do for New York versus New York. And that's why y'all built by the game.
Thank you, man. It's just, sometimes in the moment, you don't know how much it means. Sometimes we sit and thinking like, we're just doing it because we love ball. Because before this big stage, we were just doing it for the love. We were just doing it because that's what we do in our neighborhood. So just the imprint we have on the New York City basketball on Brooklyn, it means a lot. And sometimes it doesn't resonate with you until after the fact. So it probably won't sink in until probably 10 years from now. Or from when we walk away from the whole basketball street world, it means so much. But, as far as New York versus New York, we just want to keep Gersh as that household name for there, and we're looking to get that championship year 4. So that's definitely what we're brewing. There's definitely something in the brew, what we're trying to put together to get that another championship.
That'd be 3 out of 5. Yikes! That's like a dynasty, man. I mean, I got one question because me and Spicy, people tend to think we all competitors. How Fly Ty? Cause we see Fly Ty numerous times we go there, but how Fly Ty in his own community? I mean, we gotta shout him out because he's like the voice for Brooklyn, like the whole Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is not small. I mean, he's the voice for the whole Brooklyn, but primarily he's a Gersh alum. So how you feel about Ty, man? I'm gonna give you the floor to speak about my guy, because as competitors, they think that me and Spicy, we like, oh, we competitors, we shoot the competition down. But Fly Ty support us in every way. So I want to give you the floor. Give us a minute or two. Speak about Fly Ty, man, because he deserves his flowers, man.
Got you. So first, let me go on to as far as that when people try to make you competitors, that's just the way it is. So when it comes to leagues, they want leagues to compete with other leagues. Do you want your league to be great? Yes, but that don't mean you got to tear down another league. As a commentator, do you want to be the best commentator? Of course, but that don't mean you got to tear down another commentator. So that's just the way people try to build a narrative to make it that way, to make it like, oh nah, Ty is against ChaChing, Ty's against Spice Talk. Nah, it's all together. We're all trying to build. Because the day that we all could work together doing one thing, we're all on the same mic, that'd be epic. But as far as Ty's legendary, man. Ty's legendary with no background of commentating, just being a funny kid. I'm talking about coming to Ty, yo, I think you should do the mic. He's like, what? I remember the day, like, what you mean? He's like, I'll do it. And Ty just ran with it. And Ty being Ty. From summer youth, from going to summer school, free lunch, him just being a comedian all the time. And him having a knowledge of sports, him loving sports, having a background in sports. So Ty's legendary. Ty's legendary just to the community, because Ty was blessed enough to play. He was better in football than basketball. Then he got a chance to play ball and was great. He just took another lane of, let me see how this commentating thing go. And he flourished with it. I still think he didn't even reach his ceiling yet to be even greater. Sometimes I'll sit with him and talk like, yo, listen, bro, you could take this way, way higher, but Ty's Ty. When it's time to lock in, Ty go lock in. When it's time to put on for the city, Ty go put on. So, Ty is so instrumental to what Gersh built. But I just remember Ty coming on initially and just being reluctant. But, Ty's amazing. Ty's amazing with what he does, and he knows how to control and monitor the temperature of a game. Some commentators can't control the temperature of a game. So many times, players get antsy, especially on the pro level. Players get antsy, physicality gets a little too much, and he's learned to be able to control the temperature of a game, and that's a gift. That's a gift. So, I definitely praise him, and I let him know, like, keep doing what he's doing. I definitely tell him we definitely try to keep the positivity where we all build everybody up. Do we want Gersh to be the best? Of course. Do we want Ty to be the best? Of course. Do I want to be the best? Of course. But I don't need to tear nobody down or knock nobody. Do what you do. I love what you do. It's enough for everybody. So, that's one thing. I always let him know you keep doing a great job and keep building. But, we all won.
And I think you said it right there. Like, you chose, as a commissioner, that's the hardest thing I think for y'all, because y'all put y'all name on the line for y'all park, but choosing an announcer to represent your park means a lot, because that, even though you the face, you hide a lot. So when people walk into Gersh, they might think Fly Ty the commissioner the way he be moving, because you humble, you so laid back, you don't care about the spotlight, you give everybody else the spotlight, and that's how, as a commissioner, I think that's so beautiful, because it's like, you trust everybody, like you give them a role, and you let them show, like, this is why I chose you. And that's why you as a person, I think everybody around Gersh and how Gersh is built, even from the food, like you go to Gersh, you're going to eat good. You're going to get a good game. You're going to get a good environment. Every section got a section, a name for this section. Like, it's just so beautiful. It's a family atmosphere. You walk into Gersh, you welcome, courtside seats. Like, it's just beautiful.
You can go two ways with it. You got some commissioners that want to be in the spotlight, that want to be on top of everything, and you got some that's like, okay, you got to do your job. And we do our role because, again, before all of this, we just love what we're doing. And as far as the business side of it, You just want it to flourish. So, Ty's out there. Ty's online. He's on social media. Ty's in the park. Ty's in so much. So, you look at it like, when it's all said and done, I just want the product to be out there the right way. So, in my mind, I'm like, long as it's safe, people want to come, and it's things to do. It's things to do. So, like you said, you come to park, you got food on one section. You got courtside seats on the other section. You got people talking junk on this section. You got the players on this section. So everything is like broken up and departmentalized just to make it work. So, it's just try to keep it going and try to be different. So, y'all around a lot of leagues, we try to sit and have some authenticity to our league. And that's what the planning process is. So now at this point, I'm planning for next summer. And I ain't even get to the winter yet, just to make sure I'm ready and we're ready. So when it's time to go, we're ready to go.
The New York versus New York platform released the New York versus Edition sneaker. How was that feel to have that in the House of Hoops Fulton and some of the other Nike stores around the city, just to have your patch, your logo on a sneaker?
It's just a blessing, and it's like, again, it goes to the fact of you don't know your impact at the moment. Somebody may get the sneaker and they're like, "Yo, bro, I just want to." I put a Gersh patch on it, and they're more invested in, like, "Wow, I love this. I ain't wearing it." Just talking to somebody yesterday, they're like, they're not wearing this the next summer. In my mind, I'm like, it's a sneaker, but it means so much when you sit back and look at it from where we came from before the park was renovated. I'm talking about before anybody that been to East New York. It used to be a red wall up where the football field is. You couldn't see the football field from the basketball court. So those people that go back those days, that could see like, wow, this is Gersh. They could go to a store and see it. They'll sit there and just be like, damn, I remember before anything when people never came to the park. So, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, and I appreciate everything. I know the whole community, and it's bigger than me, it's the community. The community gets to see, like, like for me, I have the sneakers, I'm not wearing them. I don't think I'm wearing them no time soon because they mean a lot. And for a community, it's deeper than just Gersh. That whole East New York community has a piece of Gersh. Something happened with them in Gersh that's forever with them in their mind. So to have it in the House of Hoops, to have it in these Nike stores and all over the city means so much. It means so much just because the community has a piece of it. The community.
Just shout your staff out. Even the people that do the scoreboard, we want to know who they is. We definitely want to give them their flowers, because to do a unlimited game in that park, playoff time, semifinals time, championship time.
3.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know how it goes. So just shout out them, and we gonna do a wrap up question after that, because they just all deserve their flowers.
Just to go back to like, you go back to like Shay. She was somebody that one of the young kids from the community, because one big piece of for me is I get those kids in the community. Those adults in the community, come work. They're invested in the park. So like even the Shay days, not Shay days, the camera, I'm talking about even the days when the young girl Shay from East New York was on the books, on the clock. Before Tommy, Kenny, we had the kid Sean. So many people that's been a part of it. And then the people that's, in the background, you got Kyle, you got Ty, you got G-Dogs, you got Geach, you got Slills, you got Tommy, you got Kenny, you got Quick. You got so many people I would be naming. It's so hard. But, we all love each other. We beef a lot, we bicker a lot, we disagree a lot, but that's what makes it better. It makes it more authentic, because now it's like, your idea doesn't just matter so much because they got a piece of the idea. So, I just shout out all of them. We all crack jokes with each other. We all talk junk with each other. We do give time apart from each other. So after the summer's over, like this time now, end of August, we wouldn't be speaking. None of us. Okay. None of us. Because after being together those 10 weeks, the chat is dry. The text is dry. Like, all right, cool. I see you after, Thanksgiving. We'll talk. Or Thanksgiving time, we'll link up and do something in the community. But we try to give people time to kind of, decompose and get back to themselves. But, we love each other. We got a bunch of war stories. Those times on the benches, just putting together stuff, planning. I remember writing a schedule in crayon. Me and Geach going back, 12 years, writing a schedule on paper, on a newspaper, on a paper bag before we was typing on the computer. So, we have so many war stories. That's one thing I could say. We got to work on something as far as a documentary because we got so many stories, so many intricate parts that happen behind the scenes that people will never know. That we'll be arguing right before tournament time. Game is at 7. We didn't argue from 5 to 6:15. Argue for an hour and change. And then walk over to the park and nobody never know. So, it means a lot. It's just that if they sit and listen, they'll laugh because they'll know all the times. All the stuff they hated with me, or I hated with them, or we hated with each other. It's definitely a part of it. That's the makeup of Gersh, the makeup of the family. Because ain't no family perfect. If I sit on here and get everything's perfect, everything's peachy, no way. If there's arguments, there's complaints. There's gonna be discussion after this because they want 50 seats. They want a whole stadium seat so we can all speak. So, it's just life. It's just life.
So what can the people expect from Gersh 2021, New York versus New York? What can we expect from you, your staff? Is there any surprise coaches, or are you coming back with the same 2 coaches?
For me, New York, first 2021, we want to make sure everything is safe. Families feel safe, the community feels safe, everybody's safe to be out there. And then we want to put on again. Trust me, we have some special. You know what? Like I said before, if we would have had the 2020 team, we were coming with some pieces, some major pieces. So 2021, we're gonna sit back and still get those pieces. We got some people brewing. We got some surprises, some special guests we gonna pull out. But trust me, we definitely in talks. As far as coaches, who knows what's gonna happen from now to then. But regardless, whoever steps out to represent Gersh is gonna have a great representation of Gersh, and they're gonna be invested in what we're doing. So as far as 2021, we want to make sure everyone's safe and be able to put that best product out. But we definitely got something special brewing. Trust me, trust me, it's gonna be something special, and we looking to be at that holding that trophy again. And then it won't be 3 out of 5. It won't be 3 out of 5, ChaChing. It'll be 3 out of 4 because this year is like that lockout season, that COVID season. So we rather that 3 out of 4, that 75%, as opposed to that 3 out of 5.
Damian, we call you the CEO, man. I mean, sometimes when I look on the fine print and I see somebody's actual name, I'm like, oh, that's not the boss. But Mr. Pitts, so we gonna send you off right. Mr. Pitts, Gersh Park, the whole Brooklyn has arrived.
Good looking. I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all keep doing amazing stuff, man. Don't think y'all stuff is overlooked. Y'all are doing a major mark in the city, man. Dark Skin Splash Brothers, I love it. Yo, Jay, run with that, man. Y'all run with that. That's real. Y'all need to run with that. That's real. Y'all need to market that and run with that. But keep doing what y'all doing, man. I love it. For real.
And we can't be back without a hot drop report.
Caliente! I'm getting my Spanish on week by week.
Yeah, I love the introduction. Yeah, it's Caliente here. Hot drop report. Today we got the Hybrid S2. So this shoe features different shoes. It features the 4, the 5, the 6, and then little different accents from past USA teams, past USA shoes that Kyrie wore. I really like it. I like the tie-dye. Tie-dye's big this year. I like how fun it is, how bold it is. It matches Kyrie's personality. People think he's super chill, but he's really crazy, and he's super cocky and confident on court. If I'm going to give it a temperature, I might have to give it a 85. I like this shoe.
85, ooh. You know why? Because it got the USA theme to it. So I roll with 85. And for the second week we went back to back with Brooklyn Nets. That's showing us what next week might look like. But I give it about an 85. Spicy, what you get at?
Well, in the USA, those is all right, man. I ain't gonna lie, those are good feats. Get right on the court. I don't know, Caliente, you can swag those off the court.
I think I can swag them off the court, a little sweatsuit, do my thing. I'm looking forward to see kids with him. You know, Kyrie's a big kid shoe. Kids love the Kyrie, and I think they'll look dope with them. And kids do a lot of cool things. Their creativity and how they mix and match things. I'm looking forward to see that this fall when they go back to school. I love the shoe. Like I was saying, I love thinking about the moments when Kyrie was really breaking out in the USA practices a couple years ago, going against Kobe. So I'm looking forward to see how the Kobe's look, or if they do a USA Kobe. I'm looking forward to that too. But yeah, it's definitely a dope shoe. Traction is fire as usual. And yeah, hot drop report got Caliente. 85 for me.
85? 85.
Thanks everybody for tuning in to episode 4, Household Fulton Podcast, New York versus New York, Gersh Park, 2-time tier, the Brooklyn way. Y'all know the vibes, the Dark Skin Splash Bros, and we are built by
Two in the lane.